Heidi ho neighbors, Rado Goji here. You may be thinking to yourself right now, Rado, you silly goose, this isn't Baldur's Gate at all, is it? No, Steve, it isn't. This is Choujin Sentai Jetman. This is a Super Sentai game for the NES, or the Famicom if you want to be particularly picky on how the Japanese name it. I apologize for the sound quality. There is a tiny bit of lag because of the recording stuff, and I was able to alleviate it a bit. At the best frame rate it can be at. Although the sound is a bit weird. For those of you who don't know what Jetman is one of the Super Sentai series. The Super Sentai series nowadays is usually brought over to America, and its stock footage is used as the basis for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or whatever iteration it's in at the time. Let's start the game on normal. And we can pick from one of 5 areas. We're going to go in order, because why not? And we can pick from one of the 5 Jetmen, I guess you could call them. I'm going to start with Red Hawk, because well, let me explain real quick. Red Hawk and Black Condor each have sword weapons, and they have the most hit points. They have like 8 hit points. The 2 female characters, Blue Swallow and White Swan, have Bird Blaster guns, but they only have 6 hit points. And for some weird reason, Yellow Owl has 7 hit points, which is in between, but the Wing Gauntlet isn't nearly as... I mean, it's basically the same sort of thing as the Bringer Sword, maybe with a little less range. So Yellow Owl pretty much just sucks. I'll be using each of these at least once throughout this playthrough, but we're going to start with Red Hawk because... why not? Yeah, the game's pretty simple. A is jump, B is... B is ow. B is use your weapon. Push and start will use a special attack that can be used once, but can be refilled through a power-up that enemies drop. So then select is pause the game. And the frame rate is a little choppy, but like Baldur's Gate will live. The controls are still good at the very least. Alright. So, I guess you might want to know the premise of the show. Basically, some government organization, a good guy government organization, has researched something called Birdonic Waves, which can give people superpowers. And basically the military branch of this organization gets 5 people to become exposed to the Birdonic rays. And one of them does, and he becomes Red Hawk. But unfortunately, the evil bad guys called, well, I forget exactly what they're called, but they're called Vyram. I know that they have some sort of pre-title name to them. But Vyram comes and destroys their base and kills a whole bunch of people. And the 4 remaining Birdonic raids actually hit civilians, and they become the other ones, and basically they fight Vyram. This is a standard Super Sentai Power Rangers fare. And when basically the levels are really short, and we get to the monster of the week, and they get their super awesome robot, Great Icarus, which is a combination of their main robot, Jet Icarus, and Jet Garuda, which is their secondary robot, and we get to fight the bad guy as Great Icarus. Now, this part of the game is a little different when you compare it to the main actual side-scrolling bits, because it's more like a fighting game. Basically, A is punch, B is punch, A is jump, down is block. It's basically a very good strategy, believe it or not, just to corner yourself and block all of their attacks. You might still get some damage from the punches, but if you block projectile attacks, like I failed to do there, they will be completely destroyed or dissipated. Start button will use super special attacks depending on how far your power bar is charged. If you have one segment of the bar charged, you'll shoot out a little fireball like that. 2 segments of the bar will shoot out a diagonal downward laser from your head. Third level move is a lightning bolt, which can stun them for a short period of time, like so. So you can get some hits in. And the 4th stage special move is that awesome wave thing I showed you a couple minutes ago that actually does a whole bunch of damage. And true to the LPer's curse, I did this quite well when I was playing a little bit ago, but I'm actually horribly rubbish at it. But once you get the enemy's life all the way down, you shoot your one of 2 randomly picks one of the 2 finishing attacks for the robot and uses it automatically. Go on to Area B, and we're going to be Black Condor, who is basically just a palette swap of Red Hawk. I'm just going for some variety here. So, yeah. I swear, for some reason, Mole Mania was like the only game that I've done an LP for so far that hasn't been affected with its frame rate thus far. With the recording stuff, I don't know. Maybe it's just that I use the Visual Boy Advance emulator, and I don't know if it was just that emulator that made it overly awesome and overly recordable like that. But Baldur's Gate doesn't like it very much, neither does this NES emulator. I could have used my special power there. I actually haven't turned off the special power, have I? Well, I should have used it there. I'll use it here. It flies across the screen. And yes, they could fly in the show. Now, you might not recognize Jetman at all as any of the Power Rangers iterations, and that's because it wasn't. It was actually considered for one of the preliminary Mighty Morphin series, but it never fell through until the next show, it kept falling through until they decided to use footage from the show after Jetman, which was Zyuranger. And that was the Power Rangers everybody knows and apparently loves. I mean, I liked it as a kid. I'm not overly too much into it, although oddly enough, I am into some of the newer Sentai series. I watch those quite a bit. I don't know, call me a hypocrite if you want, but that's just the way it is. As far as Jetman goes, as far as watching it, I haven't actually seen it. I think I've seen part of the first episode, and I actually had seen an unsubbed version of an unsubbed video of the last episode. But I've also seen at least part of the first episode. Mainly as far as Sentai shows I've watched, it's mainly been the past few newer ones I've seen all the way through, and that's pretty much it. But we get to our next monster, which is the Camera. The last guy was the Mirror Jigen, and this one is the Camera Jigen. Kind of like Jigen, kind of like the character from Lupin the Third. We'll actually skip the robot combination sequence at this point. Sacrilegious for me, I know, but yeah. Wrong button. Sometimes I do have some problems beating the bosses anyways because I don't block when I'm meant to. And the punch attacks can still do a little bit of damage to you, even if you are blocking. I mean, I'm trying to keep it a little more interesting rather than just, you know, hanging back and counter-punching and then just, like, waiting for my power bar to charge up. And that's pretty much all I do on these bosses. It's, you know, cheesing it, I know, but I am trying to keep this a little more interesting by going forward and punching a couple times. I mean, I do want to beat this game, and I almost beat the game in easy mode. I was playing in easy mode a little bit ago, and I did get to the final boss, but then the game decided to reset on me. I don't know if it's something wrong with the ROM or something, but I hope it doesn't do it on this playthrough. And we beat the camera G again. And this is the other finishing attack that they use, apparently. Area be clear.